Hello everyone. So welcome you all to Ashok Tutorials Meghalaya's first Mtet channel. So my dear friends, the topic I'm going to discuss today is very important for your upcoming Mtet examination in the month of April 2025. And not only for this exam, this topic is going to be important for your life as a teacher. This particular topic is going to be very helpful for you. Now, National Curriculum Framework NCF 2005. So this is the topic we are going to discuss today in this video, NCF 2005. So after watching this video, you will be able to know what are the aims, what are the objectives, what are the importance, what are the characteristics, and how can we apply this NCF in our life, in our curriculum, and in our day-to-day life. So this topic is very important. Again, I'm repeating. So let's get started with this. So what does it has to say? So the National Curriculum Framework NCF 2005, you might have heard this term many a time, right? So NCF 2005 is an important document in education, right? To be more precise, document in Indian education. So what is NCF now? If somebody asks you what is NCF, so you should be able to tell him or her that NCF is a document in the Indian education system. All right. Now, why was it created? So it was created to improve teaching methods. Number one is teaching methods. So these days we don't use any more boring methods, right? All the teaching methods are upgraded. Teaching methods. So we use different types of teaching methods, right? We use experimental method, we use activity method, we use lecture method, we use presentation method, and we use different type of teaching learning materials, right? Why? So that the learning process becomes effective and engaging. Learning experiences. Now, learners today, they don't learn by just passively sitting in the classroom. The learners are not there just to sit passively in the classroom and listen to the teacher's lecture. No, they want to be involved in the process of learning, right? They want to take active participation in the process of learning and student development. So these are the three main, important objectives why this NCF 2005 was started. So the NCF 2005 was introduced by whom? Now this might be a question in your Mtet examination, like NCF 2005 was started by whom? Which body? So it is by the NCERT, that is National Council of Educational Research and Training. Remember, this is important. Why? To make education more meaningful, practical, and student friendly. All right. Ripping around down asimang nagtamat gen mo NCF 2005 na asimang gumagan khna haba mo yara maya digmi yara document ki sa nga jekon government education department yaho raba hamo digmi yani maksungan yara maya na anjing ni teaching learning method ko improve khana gata mo daw gata teaching methods ko mai khai improve kha again digimang learners rangna mo anjing ni chatro chatri rangna mai khai anjing nambat ka education quality education ko nagata mat gain Aro, my the student ni all round development ko niyat na gata man gain je kai moral development, physical development, cognitive development, emotional development mo ya gamma ko anjing mai kai namba tatna man gain ya gamma ko nina gata anjing NCF 2005 ko follow ka amo digi mang NCF 2005 was introduced digi mang sawa introduce ka aya NCF 2005 ko ra ma badia body mo ya ko de NCERT sa introduce ka aya ho nasimang giskrabo may na exam mo this number mo which body is associated with the introduction of NCF 2005 and the option number na simang na NCERT ba CBSE ba NCTE etc mo uno na simang machinagta nanggin daw NCERT iya sa mo jerangan yan ching NCF 2005 ko introduce ka haro may ni gaman ka ana ya khode anching ni education system ko namba tatna degi mang meaningful ongat na practical ongat na mo daw gata classroom mo bisarang asonge teacher ni lecture ko khna thumgi ja ba knan baksa mo activity rang kha dege mang field trip rang rea excursion rang rea experiment rang kha maina no ba jen salon chung bicharang involve kha bisong ma china ga taman bata concept rang clear rang bata aro ko gisra khamna ba manna uni gaman mo. And it should be student friendly. Student friendly means my student friendly means they tau gata ji ko wancing takin chim classroom mo wade student ni bilsi ni kri understanding ni kri ma sia ni kri mo student ni knowledge ni kri sa ong na nga tau gata chung class 6 ni student na class 10 ni lekha ko dis kina man jawa bisong ma sina ta man jawa maina no bisong ni brain an ndaki develop ko jamo uni gamana chung kamak factors kon consider khana nga un baksa one dake chungaya NCF ko NCRT chungna on aha tikimi yakon chung daw gata follow kha aru yani asel sa daw den chung school den dakle interesting o amo different activities rang donga aro adita sports rang donga scholastic area donga demang co scholastic area donga curriculum donga mo tikimang daw den chung education system de belong interesting o ha dekimang 2005 na skang mai kai ong achum na simang me porai rang machota na simang na me vibat ken mo na son ma sibat ken dekimang the high. Let's continue. So now why was NCF 2005 introduced? Now why was it introduced? What was the need? Before NCF 2005, education in India was rigid, textbook centered and focused on memorization. Students were expected to learn facts without understanding concept, which made learning boring and difficult. Now you see, there was a problem actually. What was the problem? Why we need this NCF 2005? So before 2005, that means in 2004, 2003, 2000, 1990s, 1980s, 1970s, what happened? The education system was very, very rigid. Rigid means it is not flexible. If the teacher just explain you blindly, without giving you any study material, without using a textbook, then you are expected to learn that way only. The curriculum was very rigid, it was not flexible. So, it was standardized, which means you have no choice. Teacher also have no choice. So, it was not flexible, it was rigid, all right? And textbook center. So, what it says is that it was all about textbook. So whatever was written in your textbook, strictly you have to follow that only. There was no experiments, no practicals, no activities, no excursions, no field trips, nothing was there. Only sit in the class and listen to the lecture and study from the textbook. Do we do this today? No. Today we don't only refer to textbook. We have practicals, we have experiments, we have field trips, excursions, then activities, right? Then focused on memorization. See, this is very negative word, all right, my dear teachers. This memorization is a negative term. So, do we encourage memorization? No, we don't encourage memorization, right? Don't encourage memorization. You might have heard one term, rote memorization. What is rote memorization? Rote memorization means the students are memorizing, but the concept is not clear. Suppose if you are teaching them about Chipko movement, they have learned, they understood, right? That all right, Chipko movement was started on so and so date. They memorized it, the fact. But when you ask why it happened, how it happened, and what were the consequences, causes, effects, then they might not be able to tell you, right? Because they just memorized, they just marked up. But today, since we follow NCF 2005, we don't believe in memorization, we believe in building concept, right? Now, that time before 2005, students were expected to learn fact without understanding. No need to understand, just memorize and come to write your exam. It was like that. And that's why it was very boring and it was very difficult for the students, all right? Now let me just briefly explain in Garo also. Ripping wrong. Dao de ansung NCF 2005 ko maini gaman nangi nga chumo. Dao de 2005 nas kang 1990s, 1980s, de gimang 2000 no, de gimang nas kang mo. Was so mera na kana education de long and rigid ong achum, which means flexible ong sang jane. degi mang textbook centers aro textbook na agre mamang phangchakani dongja experiments dongja practicals dongja activities dongja field trip dongja field visit dongja yang dongja ni gaman textbook mamang go follow ka imang student ang masina gata ba forai na gata na achum aro exam sina gata na achumo aro yede belong in memorization go support ka means te daw da mukos to chpani ko dale ra amo andi ma chung dao 2025 ba mo daw de daw chung memorization ko dale ra ama mukos to chpani ko dale ra ama raja ba mo anchung mai ko dale ra na concept ko bisarang na masya tani ko mo daw nga na simang na yakos kinga ba degi ma angara na simang ko yako memorize khat kin ma khat chawa mai ko nang kinga chunga na memorize khani ko ungja andi ba concept ko masya ni mo daw nga yako thala tinga ba NCF 2005 ko daw din na simay ko memorize ka kin ma memorize khana nang ja concept ko sama shibo concept clear ang ano de na simang je gata question sok pa na simang ko answer khana gata manaya degi memorization de belong in negative word ne daw na simang question paper ang ken rote memorization means de na mamang ko pa masija gis ko de mamang dongja thanu ko de mamang dongja ndiba mukos to de chpa ukon rote memorization ne manga ede negative term ne degi mangde mera kana students were expected to learn facts without understanding concepts which made learning boring and difficult daw de mera kana 2005 nas kangde bisha rangra mera kana mamang ko ba gis ko de masija ne ndio ba bisong khali mai daking na mukos to chpa un baksana mukos to chpa ni asel education system ar mai dakana plongen boring wa arata mamang interesting ong chamo mamang interesting ong cha plongen arata class reina bascha poraina bascha de mangde aro plongen neknaka maino ba na ma si jawde neknaka igen ba mo omongja suppose na daw ko hati ri ang ngan di ba na ko hati na kuja skang ba changna ri ang ngan ron anik na kam nek chuan nek ken ba mo won de ke ma mang ko ba na ma si ja no de nek na kani de dong igen andi ba na ma si no de ongaya mo. So let's continue. To solve these problems, the NCF 2005 was introduced with the following goals. Now, to solve all this problem, what we did is that the NCF 2005 was introduced. Now, what are the goals of this NCF 2005? Like after implementing this NCF 2005, what will change? Let us see. Reduce the pressure of exams. Learning should be fun and stress-free. Now you see. When we have introduced NCF 2005, it has reduced the exam pressure of the student, which means students can learn anytime they want, right? They can learn, and the learning process is also fun, stress-free. We don't pressurize the students anymore. We have given them the freedom to study. Enough time is given to prepare, right? And there is no pressure of any kind on the students' mind. Number 2, encourage understanding, not memorization. Students should understand concept rather than just memorize. In fact, now you see, this is what we have discussed just above, that memorization is removed. The concept of memorization is removed, which means now we believe that whatever we are teaching in the classroom, the students should understand that. The concept about that topic should be clear, and it should not be that we will ask them to memorize, go home and memorize this. No, not like that. You should understand. Suppose if I'm teaching you about the structure of a flower, so you should not memorize, all right, this side, this is calyx, this is pistil, this is gynoecium, that is androecium, that is petal, that is corolla, epicalyx. Not like that. You have to understand that this particular part is called petal. How do petal look? What is the color of the petal? What is the size of the petal in a flower? How many petals can I find? So all these things you should understand. Then only we can say that NCF 2005 is successful. Now make learning connected to real life. Now you see here, we have to connect whatever we learn in the classroom. We should be able to apply that in our practical world. So classroom learning should be connected to the learning outside the classroom, right? So we believe in that. So whatever you learn, suppose you learn mathematics, you learn division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So are you able to apply these things in your daily life? Are you able to make use of money nicely, to make use of the measurements? to make use of different shapes which you have learned in the classroom, rectangles, triangles, cuboid, circle, sphere. Are you able to apply that in your real life? The surface area, the volume, all these things you have learned in your classes, are you able to apply that in your real life situation? So if you are able to apply, then the process of NCF 2005 is successful. But if you fail to apply that, which means no learning has taken place. Now, promote an inclusive education system. All children, including those from different backgrounds and abilities, should have equal learning opportunities. Now you see, in inclusive education, there is a different unit. In CDP, in pedagogy, there is a different unit. I believe you might have already gone through that. So inclusive education is very, very important. What is inclusive education? Inclusive education means the type of education in which all the students, despite of their disabilities, they can study in the same classroom. They can study under the same umbrella without any discrimination, where everybody is accepted, nobody is rejected, right? So there might be students who are visually challenged, mentally challenged, might have dyslexia, might have dyscalculia problem, or might have dyspraxia, or different types of problems. There can be creative child, there can be intelligent child, they can be average child. So different students coming under the same classroom, under the same umbrella, and the changes are made in the system, all right? So the curriculum will change according to the need of these learners, because the system is for the learners and learners are not for the system, right? So you remember this, that system is for the learner, the school is for the learners are not for the school. So that's why adjustment should be made with the system and not with the students will not adjust. You have to give them what they need. You compromise, you adjust, and give the best to the students. All right. So this is what we call inclusive education, where individual differences are respected, where there is no discrimination, everybody is treated with equity and equality, right? Now, improve teacher-student relationship. Now you see, when a good rapport exists between the teachers and the students, then the learning becomes fun and easy. But if the students, they don't respect the teacher, or the teacher, they don't respect the students, they have no mutual bonding, they have no mutual understanding, then the process of teaching and learning becomes very, very boring and challenging. Yes or no? So there should be a good relationship between the students and the teacher. Let me say in Garo also. So Rang Yanometakana my rangara goal NCF ni goals rangara maya ba aims rangara maya by objectives rangara maya na reduce the pressure of exams. Taude exam na agre place student ko pressurize khacha ne aro learning ko skia ni rangko maya kana plongen fun ongata, engaging ongata, active ongata, aro stress free. Tarang ko banching force khana kata nangja mo encourage understanding, not memorization. Ta china kanegata dawanchuk meda kana concept ko thari na student ko ma shat na ngane diba memorize khabo yako mukosto chpo neungja mukosto chpani ko discourage khabo ndio ba concept ko ma shata ni na nasima upijong ko encourage khabo mo making learning connected to real life. Taude bisarang je khon schoolos khia classroom ni ngos khia warang ko bisong antang thangni jangi thangani halanthini nangani rango chakhalna matnama manja jeko bichong maths classroom rango skia ba mo maths classroom mo skia bichong multiplication deke mang division deke mang addition subtraction mo plus khana minus khana yarang ko skia ba mo chandmani changalani yagamo ko skia aba mo classroom mo deke mang yarang ko bichong ana antang thangni life o jangi thangani apply khana matnama manja dokan riango bisong mai bo bosurang ko break in chmo angode baita man philana ngau ko ma sisona manama manja dege mung date rango nina changama changja ya bostu ko ngara bai nga dalo aw anga ya soya sauce ko rana mi dege mung yara baita salna chuli gen validity baita dong warang ko ma si rana changama changja yan asumang yan bisarang ni classroomos kie real life o apply ka ani onga mo promote an inclusive education system. Taude nasimang gumagan ma siya dawan ching CDPO ba gisa mai ba dongachim inclusive education unit dongachim inclusive education or mana inclusive education means they a type of education system yara education system ki saunga jion bi sarang je gata nik na kani dongin mo sauba de dyslexia problem donga sauba de dakple intelligent donga sauba de dakple creative donga sauba de dyscalculia problem donga sauba de dyspraxia donga sauba de autism donga sauba de hyperactivity problem donga sauba de khana makron nukcha sauba de nasal khnaja sauba de agan na sakcha ba sauba de khna manja mo wa gata student rang je problem donga bi bisong absent classroom ki saon jenma baksa normal student rang baksa poraya ukon inclusive education manga aru ya education system me dagana ma mang makhang ni ani dongja sauba khana ongen chimo oba makron nukcha oba nasul khna ja oba kuska kana manja oba kapan bisa je rang normal bisa rang dongma mo je rangan khusba namme agan na mana soba de creative ongen soba de intelligent ongen kama kon absent daken ra makhang ni ani dongja ne aru mangsa ma sibu tau gata school sa bisarang na curriculum is for the children mo curriculum de bisarang na sandi ba bisarang de curriculum na ongja ya line ko describe blong an important no and then is ngairo basko de english to ba curriculum is for the children and not children for the curriculum means the curriculum education student rang na ongamo endi oba student rang de education system na de ongja uni gaman yani maksung ani ra maya yani maksung ani de nasimang je change je bodolani je adjustment khana na hamo nasimang education system ko sa khapo adjust endi ba bisarang ko adjust khana be bisarang de system ko sa adjust khapo nasimang bisarang ni nang kani gata mo wasa ncf ni maksung ani de degi mangde improve teacher student relationship tau de ansung masia tau gata student teacher ni relationship mo plongen namna gata na bisong saksa sakapen ko mandira na nga man suman dong na nga mo degi mang khadong ani nang dong na nga degi mang understanding nang dong na nga mo degi mang aro respect kha na nga saksa sakapen ko uno sa education system de namme namba tat na matgen education system ko namba tat na matgen ka shuba tat na matgen mo. Now let us see the aims and objectives of NCF 2005 learning without burden. The focus is on understanding concepts instead of rote learning. Example, instead of memorizing historical dates, students should learn about impact of historical events. Now you see, learning without burden means what? Learning without burden. Burden is what? Burden means a problem, a trouble, or tension, right? So students should be able to learn without any problem, stress-free, tension-free, right? The learning process should be such that students are not feeling that they are burdened or they are having trouble or they are stressed, they are having anxiety. It should not be like that. It should be freestyle, all right? So believe in building the concept. Don't ask the students to memorize, all right? You should focus on explaining the concept, giving clear understanding to the students, and not encouraging memorization. Discourage memorization. Don't allow students to memorize. Instead, you explain them, make them understand the concept again and again, all right? Example is given here. Instead of memorizing historical dates, suppose in history class the students are memorizing the date, for example, the World War, when the World War I started and when it ended, they know the date. But if they do not know why it started, who started that, what were the losses, what were the causes, what were the effects, what were the aftermaths of that war, then it is useless, yes or no? Just knowing the dates does not help. So they should understand the real story behind the concept or the topic. Now, child-centered education. Teaching should focus on the needs and interests of the learners. So teaching, as I told you, that system is for the learners and learners are not for the system. So changes, if you have to make, you change the system, you give alternatives, you find out the alternatives, you adjust the system according to the need of the learners, and don't try to adjust the learner according to the system. It's not like that, all right? So whatever you teach, it should be child-centered. This term is important for your Mtet exam, child-centered. So we never believe in teacher-centered learning, right? We always believe in child-centered learning, which means child is the center of education. Whatever you are teaching, it should be for the student, for the benefit of the learners, all right, not teacher centered. So teaching should focus on the needs and interest of the learner. So whatever the students are interested in, you try to teach that way. You try to adopt your teaching methods according to the need of the learner. If suppose you find in your classroom the students they learn better if they are involved in the activity, then you adapt that strategy. Ask the students to be involved. If they learn by demonstration, then you try to demonstrate the topic, and you can even ask the learners to take part in that. If your learners are learning by practicals or experiments, then do that for them. If they learn better by presentation, then present in front of them, all right? So this is way how you are going to adjust your your teaching methods according to the needs and interest of the learners. For example, instead of forcing students to follow fixed methods, teachers should use stories, activities, and discussions to explain the topic, right? So this is what it means, that don't force the learners that just sit down and listen to my lecture. Not like that. Tell them the stories, give them the activities to perform, give them group discussions, brainstormings, so that whatever you are teaching the topic, it becomes very, very interesting and fun for the learners. When we are happy, we can eat more, we can learn more. Yes or no? So that's why you try to keep your learners happy. If your learners are happy, you are also going to be happy. Yes or no? Now, connecting knowledge to real life. Education should be help students in their daily lives and future careers. Now you see, whatever the students they learn in the classroom, they should be able to apply that in their real life situations. If they are learning civics, political system, are they aware of the real political system outside the classroom? If you are teaching them about traffic rules, are they able to apply the traffic rules in their real life situations? If you are teaching them about banking system, are they really able to understand and apply their knowledge in the banking system? If you are teaching them about the Indian Constitution, are they able to apply the Indian Constitution in their real life situation? If you teach them about maps, the mountains, the rivers, are they really able to connect with the real rivers, real mountains, and real valleys? So that, they should be able to connect, right? Example, instead of teaching math formulas in isolation, students should be taught how to apply them in shopping, budgeting, or measuring objects. So this is already what I explained, that whatever the child learn in the classroom, they should be able to apply that in the outside world. So are they able to apply in the shop whatever they have learned? Are they able to calculate in bank? Are they able to calculate the money when they are taking it out of the ATM? Are they able to measure 1 liter of water, 100 liters of water, 100 liters of milk? Are they able to apply it practically? So that you should take care of. So now briefly let me also explain this in Garo. So penang taon asimang inundak na tamanken aims and objectives of NCF 2005 mo skang kapade learning without burden tao de nasimang jobor josti khana be bicharang ko mo tao ta nasimang bangbataan anga baby family donggaman rang donga ba mo tege mo family donggaman rang ba nasimang teacher ongen chimong ango ba normal mandirang ongen chimong ba antang thangni student rang ko antang ni bicharang ko force khana be na dao foreign nangen na andiki dakang nangen ki ongja bisongna space onbo bisongna somay onbo bisongni mood ongjokosan asimangba de tauna poraname de name poraiba support sakabo and they interfere khana be mo aro daudino maiko moksonga learning without burden ni ortho de je kon bicharang thorainga wa interesting ongna tananga aro mukosto chpani ko anching blongen jegal na nanga mo namen jegal na nanga mukosto chpani ko aro concept ko ma asya tani ko sa anching de encourage khana gata nanga mo 다오그다 비샤랑 history 포라이 맞던 거 dates 랑고 memorize 때 가긴 World War 1 된 되게 용적 좀야 살로 야블시 용아좀 되게 World War 2 데 야 살로 야 야블시 용아좀 근데 이번 아침만 와니 reason 거 마시 자모 마이니 아셀 World War 1 옹아 바노니 옹바아 마이니 그만 옹아 야니 코스 랑아라 마야 바이타삭 만데랑 야나 장기 갈라하 바 nature na 바 증니 environment na mai namgi jani rangko ya walwar abaha ya ko ma chat ta nanga then child centered education dau de gen salo education anjung school skiing abamo bicharang nauna de anjing de system ko de bicharang ni nakna kani gata sa adjust khana na bicharang ko system ni kri adjust khana be system ko sa bicha ni kri adjust khana gata nanga ne aro je kon bicha suppose bicharang de o activities khaisa machina man bata ba experiment khaisa machina man bata demonstration method chisa machina man bata presentation method chisa namme machina man na ode wa method ko na simang follow khana gata nange ne na o anga de lecture on sa gashin kani gaman bicha namba gaman lecture on gashin thokai gen ne ongja ne degimang connecting knowledge to real life daude je kon bicha classroom phorai bisong ko andangani 장기 당하니요 작할나 만나면 만자 당가 잔나니 너디 ATM은 당가 하잘 지봉아 온가 저고 비용 잔나 장마 장저와 맹칠이 양아하 바이타 당가나 비야 바이타 당가 비야 위드로 하나면 좀 오게 플레이 하나 장마 장자 와랑코 낭아 니 making learning more fun and activity based. Learning should involve games, projects, discussions and experiments rather than just reading textbooks. Now you see the way you teach and the way students learn should be fun, should be enjoying. So you try to involve different type of games, sports, projects, discussions, experiments, assignments, and field trips. So you try to involve these things in your method of teaching and learning so that the students, they are interested, they enjoy it, right? Example, science lessons should include experiments rather than just theoretical explanation. So if you are a science teacher as I am, so we should know that teaching only through the textbook is not enough. If I am teaching them about cells, I should take them to the laboratory. If I am teaching them about reflection of light, I should take them to the laboratory, and they should get hands-on activities, like they should know what a prism is, right? Or what a mirror is. Or if I want to teach titration, then I should be able to take them to the laboratory, and there they will learn it, right? Just by saying they will not understand, but when they do it by their own hand, they understand, right? Now, encouraging critical thinking and creativity. Students should learn to ask questions, think independently, and solve problems. Example, instead of giving direct answers, teachers should ask students to find solutions and discuss ideas. Now you see, encourage critical thinking and creativity. So we should inculcate the art of critical thinking in students. The students should be able to think critically why it happened. Alright, so you have taught about photosynthesis. So why photosynthesis happens? How this process functions? How do plant by this process can make their food? So you as learners should ask questions from the teachers. Think independently. So brainstorming. My way of thinking for the same topic might be different, and your way of thinking for the same topic might be different, right? So we have our own brain, our own understanding, our own way of learning, right? And solve problems. So students should be encouraged to solve their own problems. Don't come to teacher all the time. Sometimes you learn to solve your problems by yourself, so that you are able to understand, you are able to think, your brainstorming abilities excel, right? Encouraging critical thinking and creativity. All right, so now example, instead of giving direct answers, teachers should ask students to find solutions and discuss ideas. Now when a student asks you, suppose what is a pH paper, so don't just directly give them the answer. Ask them, what do you think it should be? Or like, what is your idea about it? Let them think about it. Don't directly give them the answers, right? So we're paying wrong. Making learning more fun and activity based. Dauroro school ode classroom mango bicharang ko pore achamo wa bicharang de field rang sports rang khalgen, game rang khalgen, activity rang dakken, experiments rang dakken, assignments rang dakken mo degi mang scholastic aro co scholastic area ya gamakon actively participate ka aba mo students rang daude activity based sansini learning de games bicharan ko games khalata mo sports khalata SUPW rang ko dakata de gi mang chung experiments rang ko dakata de presentation rang na mo dengtang process rang ko follow khai mang chung da oro de skiani rang ko takaba mo je khai na science teacher ong emang na bichana khali lekha mang chi skyo de khamong jawa na wa bisa ko laboratory owner mang na nangin mesok na nangin equipment rang ko manomai de ki equipment rang function kha warang ko skina gata nangin mo encouraging critical thinking and creativity tau din asimang teacher rang anga masya anjung teacher rang de blon khas chakaya ba mo khasa chakke mang na bisa na gamang bisa ni sngani na agan chakko de khamong jawa dau gata na bisa rang ni sngpa o bisa rang ko sngpus khapo suppose bisa rang snggen sir mai ni gamen jajong ni shape para tengthang ya pasa ko ba de full moon pasa ko ba de half moon mai ni gamen de ki dakasai uno de bisao na aseng skabajok acha na amai ko chanchia uno bisa nang ni chanchia ni ko nak na ga ni unken mo wara wa chanchia ni je me dakana bisa ni brainstorming ability baria bisa ni chanchia ni capacity baria mo bisa ni mental ability baria ni gamen anseng simple na nangaya basok ba de question rang ko na sibang direct answer khai on phanabe aru maga pa phaga pa yarang ko ma sibo मागपा गिसेबोदे कंप्लेन खाया मो ओ आमका सर दे मामकोन स्की जाएगा होमवर्क रा रौना ताया दिबन देके होंजा व बिसारंग ने एबिलिटी को चेक खाना सा टीचरंग दे ओन्ना निबन सिमंगबा मागपा भागबारंगबा याको उन्तिसा मा शेराना गता नांगा मो माइनाबा बिसानी ब्रेन को टेस्ट खाना गता नांगे बिसानी थानंगो बिसानी चानसिया को बिसानी क्रिएटिविटी को गमक ना नंचंग छोलना नांगा आरो अनचंग को नंबा ततना गता practice khana gata nanga omukja mo now inclusive education should be accessible to all children including those with disabilities from rural areas or economically weaker backgrounds example schools should provide ramps for disabled students and create an equal learning environment for all. Now you see I've already explained what an inclusive education is. Inclusive education means a type of education system where all the children irrespective of their abilities, disabilities are enrolled or are engaged in the process of learning in the same classroom under the same umbrella. So in the same classroom you will find economically weaker section of the society, you will find students from villages, from rural areas, from cities, from urban areas, the average students, the smart students, the intelligent students, the extraordinary students, the students who have disabilities of different types. Some are visually challenged, some are having hearing loss, some have mental disabilities, some have dyslexia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia. So the students can have different type of disabilities. In spite of all these, they are treated equally with equity in the same classroom. All right, they learn together in the same classroom. There is no discrimination and all the students are respected. All right, they are given equal opportunities, they are respected in the same manner. There is no discrimination on the basis of any factors. All right, so in order for these classrooms, what you have to do is that you have to adjust the system according to the need of the learner. So you have to make your buildings easily accessible to the students who have locomotory disorders. For example, the students who cannot walk, who are physically challenged, you should build ramp for them so that they can easily access the classroom. You should have lift for them so that they can easily access the classroom, right? So this is how we can bring changes in the education system. And NCF 2005 is doing so. Promoting multilingualism, students should learn in their mother tongue and also be encouraged to learn other languages. Example, a child in Tamil should be taught in Tamil but also learn English and Hindi as additional languages. So now you see, promoting multilingualism means what? Means many language. So suppose, and students should be taught in their mother tongue. Suppose if my mother tongue is Garo, then I should be taught in Garo. But at the same time, while I have been taught in Garo, I should also be taught in Hindi and English together along with Garo, right? It should be like that, so that the student, they learn Hindi also, they learn English also, they learn Garo also, right? So And a student should learn in their mother tongue, right? Remember this, and also be encouraged to learn other language at the same time. So this is what it means. Now let me say in Garo also. So penang inclusive education ko din asimang masyaba mo. Inclusive education means te bisarang jerangan challenges tonga mo. So bade visually challenged, so bade hearing loss tonga, so bade autism tonga, so bade creative tonga, so bade intelligent tonga, so bade average tonga mo. Degi mang so barang de dyspraxia tonga, dyslexia tonga, dyscalculia tonga. Warang kama kan option classroom mo phoraya. Aro option classroom mo phoray matungon may nakana. Teacher rang bisongni skiani rangko bisarangni nangnegani kita adjust ka bisarang de adjust kana nang jane maina ba bisarang de system na ongja system se bisarang na wani gaman maina kana teacher rang dangni teaching method rangko bisarangni nangnegani kita adjust kai ongen mo aru gamag bisarang an importance ko mangen gamag bisarang kon makhang niani dongso gamag nan option na importance ko ongen ni aro daw kita sobi bisarang de rina dona ninga mo sobrang de ja dongja ba jak dongja ba mai ba ning kan yang donggen chmo ang de mai nakana ramp rang ko anching building rang tharina nang lift rang ko anching building rang donna kata nang mai no ba yarang bisarang na blongin dakchakani ongen bisarang wa staircase ko climb khana kata nang jo bisong direct ramp ko chakhale mang first floor ni second floor ni ground floor ni na kata man gen mo no multilingualism daw de mai nakana anching antang tani classroom mo anchung antang bisarangko mana the pet mother tongue cheese kinakata nanga aro mother tongue cheese kian baksa me nakana kapun language rangko ba ski chapna nanga da the english ba hindi ko anchung garo baksa kinakata nanga mo garo ra me garo anchung ni mother tongue ba mo temang garo cheese kibo un baksa na chimang english chibas kibo aro hindi chibas kibo main no ba bisa de language ki isa mangmang ko ma shede choli jawa negman ski matangon mix up khabo mo language rangko sau barang de mother tongue chi ma sibat ken sobarang hindi chi ma sibat ken sobarang english chi ma sibat ken mo nigaman defining the role of teachers. Teachers should guide and support students instead of just giving lectures. Example, instead of reading from a textbook, a teacher should interact with students through discussions and activities. Now you see, redefining the role of teachers. Before 2005, what happens is that teachers, they just sit on the chair, in the table, they keep the textbook and they are reading while sitting. But do we do that today? Do we do that in 2025? No. Now we teachers, we don't even have chairs in our classroom. This is what I have seen in many schools. We have the table, but we don't have chair anymore. What does it indicate? This indicates that we are not allowed to sit in the classroom. Now, why we are not allowed to sit in the classroom? Because we are not going there to sit. We are going there to work, right? We are going there to work. So our work is to teach the learners, to make our teaching more and more engaging and understandable, right? So we are expected there to teach our lessons, and our lessons should be effective and engaging. All right, we should not just merely be sitting on the chair and keeping the textbook on the table and reading it out. Not like that. We are not even allowed just to stand near the board and explain. No, we are asked to move around the classroom. We are asked to move here and there in front of the board also. We are not allowed to just stand in one place and teach, right? This is what is expected of us. So why? So that students, all the students, suppose if you are just standing near the whiteboard or blackboard and teaching, then those students behind in the last bench, they are not interested. They are sleepy. They sleep. They misbehave. They are mischievous. So in order to take care of each child in your class, you have to move to and fro. Yes or no? Assessment beyond exams. Exams should not be only way to judge a student's learning. Example, instead of single final exam, students should be assessed through projects, presentations, and class participation. Now you see, assessment beyond exam means there is not only one criteria that you will judge a student by his or her performance in their final exam. Not like that. We have to assess them throughout the year. Recently, I have uploaded one video where I have talked about continuous and comprehensive evaluation. So we are evaluating the learner throughout the year. in the classroom, outside the classroom, in the playground, everywhere we observe the learner, his or her attendance, projects, assignments, discipline, participation in sports, participation in events, participation in the classroom discussion. So everything is being observed. Performance in monthly test, class test, weekly test, homework, classwork. So we observe everything these days, right? So our teaching or our assessment should not only be exam based, it should be all round, right? So instead of just one final exam, we should encourage and assess the students through projects, presentations, and class participations. So now let me also explain in Garo. Number 8, redefining the roles of teachers. Taude repengang na simang masyamo. Taude school rango na simang choki ko manjawa. Chairan dongjan sing na teacher rang na asong chakna kata. Table makmang dongaya. Maini gaman. Jeda ko de anchung andang thani class to serious ongemang class ra again. Sauba teacher rang des khang gacham chasong rang de medakana. Chairo asongi dongaya mo aro lekha ko textbook ko jakhalgen table lo dongen aro andang chero asongi sa skyagen uno asongin skya chakatcha andi oba dauni chasong wade anchingden dakna mancha ha badiaba school rang de chair rang ko uncha ha wenigman teacher rang de chadeng isa skina nanga blackboard whiteboard to scheme tango ba ijeng isa skina nanga mo ijeng isa skina nanga maina no ba sangchi bicarang asong ko parang last benches rang bisong de misbehave ka thusiaya ongisa chani rang ko saya gossip khaya git rang rogen drawing salerang rogen mo warang ko sumsak na kata teacher de classroom mo makhang chi kisang chi side chi gamak chin ijeng jenge rejeng jenge nina kata nanga mo aro anching is kian ramai dakana textbook mangmango phangchakna nangja anching experiments rang ko perform khana kata nanga projects rang ko na nanga bisarang na assignment rang ko na nanga activity rang ko khana nanga field trip rang ko khana nanga matnao de excursion rang chibar redel na kata nanga mo taude assessment bureau exams taude me dakana tauni chasong de anching de learning ko ba ma shani ko decide khana kata manja taude me dakana anching comprehensive continuous and comprehensive evaluation ko follow kha mija mga upload kha video gisan asimang nibo niku jawonde CCE ba mo continuous and comprehensive evaluation tadi mana kana anjing bisa ko salan thi observe ka daude 2005 nas kangden de kyongja di ba daude anjing salan thi bisa ko observe ka regular school na ri ba mari ba jainga lekharang ra ba mara ba jainga classwork ka ma kha ja homework ka ma kha ja classroom mo activity rango bakra amara ja event rango bakra amara ja sports bakra amara ja unit test CMS hi जाएगा weekly test CMS hi जाएगा monthly test CMS hi जाएगा half yearly exam CMS hi जा देखिए मंग discipline दो में दोंजा personality दो में दोंजा ये कब कौन अंजंग check का अब मो assignment रंग submit का मा काजा project रंग submit का मा काजा या कब कौन अंजंग check का बिशानी school नापानी सालो नी बिशानी school माचो ताऊना कंकंग अंजंग या को observe का yan continuous and comprehensive evaluation होगा ताऊ दे अंजंग नी assessment दे वा बिशानी फोराया makmango phangchakna nangja all round development usa phangchakna ta nangamo project submit khama khaja presentation rango bakra amara ja class rango bakra amara ja ikam ko nanching ninagata nanga use of technology in education digital tools should be used to enhance learning examples smart classes videos and online quizzes should be used to explain complex topics now you see use of technology we know that we live in a technological era now so what do our classrooms are digital these days yes or no our classrooms are digital right so we are making use of computers projectors then different types of hi-fi monitors then what should we do now is that we should have smart class we should make use of videos lectures then we should make use of online quizzes and we should also teach some complex topics to the learners through these using digital content or digital media or using smart ways in the smart board right you can play some videos show them pictures show them the Wikipedia so all these things we can do in the present scenario because of the advancement in science and technology right repengrang da de mana kana jingni classroom mo ba jing technology ko jakhalna ga tananga tauna simang ma sia anjing ni school rango mai dongana smart classroom dongaba mo geo projector donggen white screen donggen smart board donggen laptop donggen computer donggen mo warang ko jakhale anjing de mai nakana rak pa topic rang ko di wa slides rang ko jakhale ba monitor rang ko jakhale ba projector rang ko jakhale skia ba mo dawata specially science rang na simang ken mai ba process rang ko anjing thala tinga no de lekha makmang chi thalat na de na menek na ka uni gaman anjing video rang ko bisok na man no de animation rang ko bisok na bisok ko de bisok mai takana ma sibat na ta vi bat na ta mana omok ja uni gaman anjing de daw ro de mai takana video rang ko bisok ka mo video rang ko bisok ka de ki mang online quiz rang ko attempt ka ata de ki mang pictures rang ko bisok ka wikipedia rang ko bisok ka de mang je online content rang no digital content rang no warang ko anjing bisarang na bisok ka ba mo wan mai takana ode blongin bisarang ni namgani na onga ini man technology ko pancing daw gata jakal na gata nanga chini classroom ne uni ko man sa nasimang nakken daw gata projector ko mag classroom on donga aro smart classroom ba digital classroom de daw de ko mag school on donga ha mo tiki mang anga chanchia yarang sa no ainok dal dia video tiki mang nasimang ansing aman sing jaw ko ang na comment kaya ganat phabu maina no banga joton kha amo daw gata ya video de minute sotpri rang onggen kon anga ma si janina jamano minute sotpri rang onggen degi manga yago minute kolgre kon machot na gata mangen chem endi banga maina minute kolgre ko machot atcha maina no banga english mamang chi skill de ya minute sotpri on mach o minute kolgre kon machot aigen chem endi banga ajku chiba explain khajo solani gamen ya kora minute sotpri gata nanga hamo degi ya video ko thari de blong ning de ning a mo ning a prepare ba khana na haro somoi ba nanga weni gamen simang namna ka ngode like kha phabo ya video ko mo aro share khat phabo pings kharang mang deki maro comment kha sanga ba shu ko nga senga ro o angni skia ko namna ge nga mandirang deki ma si batenga bisong da ogata angni skia ko namna thukenga gamagan yarang ko na simang comment kha abo mo mijarang ba comment kha thukenga sir nang is skia blongen nama na dynamic teacher nga deki mang na agaru chi skio ma si thalle ma si batta degi mang garu chi bas ki jol bo ya rikirang na simang ni aga na ni gaman sanga yano garu chi bas kya ha degi mang ni na simang ni comment mai dakaba comment rang sokba based on the comment degi na sini comment namma ode na simang o namnak bibia ode uno de anga thari dakhugen degi man na simang by chance namnak cha ode wa agre play video ruwa ha na so sir na english mamang chi ba explain khai bon no english chin khai gen dem na simang garo chi ba dawang ni explain kha ga tanam na ka ode ya ko nak na ka ode ye deki ba kha tai na mo deki na suni comment to sama share nok deki man comment kha phabo like kha phabo share kha bo aro na simang ya channel na ga talong ang ode subscribe kha phabo mo ashok tutorial ko subscribe ko aro ping rang daw gata sau barang de nek na ka are yang ade sara shoko de youtube de nek na an man jainga ashok tutorial ko de youtube de nek na man jainga da de nak muna na simang ko youtube nek cha ode google sandia tai bo Google type khabo ashok tutorial mtet ne type khabo ne uno jen salon asimang ashok tutorial mtet ne type kha ha unon angni video nang nakhat kno Google lo uko jamano click khai bang naso YouTube na yang nagta manaya ne Google over search khana gata manaigen search khai porai nagata ba video ni nagata manaigen so my dear friends, so I think this is all in this video, so thank you everyone for staying connected with the Shok Tutorials Meghalaya's first Mtet channel. Thank you.